Well, welcome back. We're going to talk about doing some things with the American Flyer trains again today. And what we have today is we're going to dwell into the couplers. Couplers are how you link up the different cars from one car to another, so you actually have a train. The problem is that many times, very frustrating, is that certain couplers do not hold steadfast. In other words, you could be running your train at a show or at a layout or at a club, and of course you're running around, it looks good, and all of a sudden, right in the middle of the train, one of the couplers becomes uncoupled. So the engine goes forward and leaves the running stock or the trains behind. And what's more frustrating is that where does this happen? Usually in the far corner of the layout where you can reach, and that is not a good thing. You have to climb somehow, get to those cars, and reassemble the coupling the cars. But this usually happens with link couplers, as most people would tell me. The link couplers become uncoupled for various reasons. Uh, Many times the link couplers becomes very stiff because they're very old, probably like 50, 60 years old, and gunk usually gets into the linkage itself, so it doesn't move as it should. In other words, when you hit a bump, the coupler goes up, it doesn't come back down again. So many folks have converted to knuckle couplers, operating knuckle couplers. However, American Fly also in the mid 50s converted their link couplers to knuckle couplers. And I will explain to you the difference between a link coupler and a knuckle coupler. I will show you pictures of it, and I'll actually demonstrate how to install one of these conversions. And also, you can actually may have to repair sometimes. The knuckle cups do break sometimes, and you will have to replace it. So stay tuned. I'm going to show you how to do this. I have three rolling stock, three cars here, and they all three have different types of couplers. The first one, this box car, has a link coupler. As you can see, it goes up and down, but this one is so stiff, even if I've tried to clean it, it doesn't go back down. So as you're running, if it hits a bump, it goes up like that, it becomes uncoupled because it's not going to go back down again. You see, it's stiff. Same thing on this side. It should go up and down with these. But again, these are parts that they're over 60 or 70 years old, made in the early 50s. American Flyer went away from the link couplers and went to knuckle couplers. And these are more like the actual real life coupler. It looks more like the real stuff. So what happens here is that this is how it works. It couples in, it goes in, and then you can open it up again with a under the weight here. You press the button here. So that's how it works. And usually nothing goes wrong with this unless you actually break the coupler, which is rare. The only time you could break this is if you drop it somewhere, but then you have to replace this, and there is a way to replace this. This went on for quite a while with American Flyer until the early 60s and maybe in the middle of the 60s. American Flyer tried to save some money. They went to the pipe master couplers, and these are really not so good. I mean, it works. It will work together like this. However, it's just two pieces of plastic. I don't know if you can see this. There's two pieces of plastic that goes in and out, and these plastic is quite flimsy. And this is what happens if you're not careful. It breaks, and this is what happened now. You notice. So, but there is really no good way to replace these couplers. These couplers are hard to. Well, you have to change the truck basically, but it's really not worth the effort. So we're not going to talk about this anymore. Now, I just want to bring to your attention the different types of replacement couplers there are. This is a coupler with a hole. And this is a replacement for the existing couplers that was manufactured by American Flyer. So if this thing breaks, you have to basically, let's see if I can point this out to you. There are two tabs here. You have to pry these two tabs open outwards, and this will come, the whole coupler will come out. And then you actually replace the coupler with this, the one with the hole. And you squeeze, and you take a pair of pliers and you squeeze the two tabs back together. Take a long pair of pliers and you just squeeze. I'm not going to do this now. This is in good shape. You could also use, besides the coupler with the hole in it, there is a coupler that's called conversion coupler. It could work either with the original, or when you're going to replace this with this. And I'll show you why there's a slot in it. There's a slot in this one. All right, so this works with both replacing the link coupler and also to repair an existing manufacturer, AC Gilbert manufactured coupler. So now let's just say you want to replace the link coupler with a knuckle coupler. How do you do this? Well, the traditional way is to get one of these, or you make a block of wood, drill the proper size hole, and there's a tube. I don't have the tube here, but it goes right. There's a tube. It's like a hollow tube. You put this over here, and basically, what they tell you to do is to take a hammer and hammer this into the slot. I don't think I want to do that. That's kind of a dangerous thing. I mean, there's not much room here. You can actually, if you miss, you could damage the entire car. Or if there's steps here, you can actually damage the steps, and that's not a good thing. So what I do is, on the fly, you could do this, you know, at your leisure, or on the fly, if you're at a show or somewhere you have no tools, but you do have one of these, you could actually, and this is what I do, I think it's a little bit safer than using a hammer and a tube to hammer this whole pin out. And if you miss, well, there goes your car. So what I do is I take this plier and I insert it behind the pin, and also one end on the actual pin itself, and squeeze. It'll come out. I've taken the wheel off, so basically I squeeze and the whole thing just comes right out. Again, just to reiterate, take the closest wheel to the link off. And squeeze. It comes right out. Much safer. So there you have it. These pins are actually the link couplers. You can reuse these for another car if you like, and no damage. If you use the hammer and the pin, and the hammer is this big, and if you try to hit this onto the pin and try to move it, and if you miss, you're in trouble. So I really don't like this so much. Using this, it's safer for me. I think it'll be safe for you. And it's also very versatile because you can actually change the link, these couplers on the fly. So if you're somewhere at a show or at a club and all of a sudden you say, well, gee, I need to have these link couplers changed out now. And you don't have to wait until you go home or back to the shop to do this. So you could do this right on the spot. As long as you have these parts, this is what you need. So what you need to install the new couplers, the knuckle couplers, you need, I'm going to use a conversion coupler here. You need a conversion coupler and also a mounting pin. This is the mounting pin. This is the actual coupler. And if you notice, where the link coupler used to be, there's a, this is actually, there's a hole here, but it's also a very thin piece of metal where actually you could slide. You see this, the conversion coupler has a slit. There's a slot there, you can slide this right in like this. Slide right in, and part of the hole is still visible if you, once the knuckle coupler is inserted. These mounting pins has a pre-gap space here, and I think that sometimes it's just a little bit too wide for it to fit into the hole. What I do is I take my pliers and I gently squeeze it to close just a tad so that we could actually have it slide in. So when you slide this in, be sure the weight is, the car's upside down, be sure the weight is facing up, not down. It's facing up because this is actually, when you turn it over, this will be down. So just be sure this is facing up now, the weight is facing up, and you slide it in. And let's see if this will fit. If not, I may have to squeeze it a little more. So if you notice, there is a slight opening right here, and that's where it goes in. There you have it. And you can actually see that. So the head goes in one side, it doesn't matter which side, and then it goes through there. And then you need to take a thin screwdriver. You just gotta spread this out now so it doesn't come off. See, the mounting pin is spread. And now you have an operating coupler. And it's done. Reinsert the wheel, and you're good to go. Okay, well, we're on the topic of knuckle couplers. What if you do not have one of these conversion couplers? The one with the slot. But let's say you have plenty of these with the hole, but this won't fit into the conversion, as I just demonstrated with the conversion coupler. So Are you in trouble? No, I don't think so, because you can actually convert the coupler with the hole into a regular conversion coupler. All you need at your shop is a Dremel tool. A Dremel tool and one of these grinding wheels. And this is what I do. Be sure to wear eye protection before you begin this. You could put this into a vise or to hold it in place, or what I do is, since I'm pretty proficient in it, I could hold it in my hands. And what I do is, you take the Dremel tool, just basically cut a slot right down the middle, right up to the shoulder here. Begin here and just cut right through up to the shoulder here, and basically the same thing on this side. So watch this. Again, be sure to wear some eye protection. Okay, you need a little, basically a round file to get the burrs off. This little stuff that is still hanging on to it. Smooth it out. So in a pinch, you could do this. Not hard to do. Okay. So this is my knuckle coupler with the hole in the solid hole, and I made it into a conversion coupler. Here's a pre-manufactured reproduction. On this side, that's the manufactured reproduction, and this is the one with the hole, and I just made a slot. And there you have it. Well, that's it for this episode on knuckle couplers. I hope this video helped you somewhat in terms of doing future repairs on your trains. And if you like this, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. And give me a like. Appreciate it very much. Enjoy.